With a mission to deliver fiscally responsible, highly dependable services to the citizens of our community and the region. With integrity and professionalism, this is the City of Albany Commission Meeting with Mayor Bo Duro, John Howard, Ward 1, Mayor Pro Tem Matt Fuller, Ward 2, BJ Fletcher, Ward 3, Chad Warbington, Ward 4, Bob Langstaff, Ward 5, Demetrius Young, Ward 6, with Interim City Manager Stephen Carter, City Clerk Sonia Tolbert, and City Attorney Nathan Davis. This is the City of Albany Commission Meeting.
Good evening and welcome to the June 2021 regular meeting of the Albany City Commission. The first item is the invocation. Is Pastor DeCarlo Marcus with us tonight? If not, Commissioner Warbington, would you be willing to give the invocation? If I could ask everyone to stand, please.
Lord, we love you. Thank you. God, you are a great God. You are the sustainer of us and the sustainer of everything that we do. Lord, we come tonight and ask for your wisdom. We ask for your direction. God, we thank you for our city. Thank you for our leaders and for our staff. God, we work tirelessly to serve our citizens. God, tonight as we discuss different matters, Father, just I pray you would allow us to honor you in our word and our actions. And again, we just thank you. And we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Reverend Howard. Chris Howard, would you lead us in the invocation? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could we call the roll, Mr. Harper?
Ward 1.
Here.
Ward 2.
Here.
Ward 3.
Here.
Ward 4.
Ward 4 is here.
Ward 5.
Ward 5 is here.
Ward 6.
Here.
Mayor.
Mayor is here. The next item on the agenda is consideration of approval of the minutes from the previous meeting.
Move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Could we call the roll, please, Mr. Harper?
Ward 1.
Yes.
2. 3.
Yes.
4.
Yes.
5.
Yeah.
6.
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. The next item on the agenda is consideration for approval of beer and wine consumption license for Brothers Pizza at 2820 Meredith Drive. Any member of the commission prepared to make a motion to approve that application?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Any questions for Mr. Norman? Mr. Howard?
No question.
Mayor Pro Tem?
No question.
Mr. Fletcher?
No questions.
Mr. Warbington?
No questions.
Mr. Langstaff?
No question.
Mr. Young?
No questions.
Ms. Talbot, would you call the roll?
Ward 1.
No.
Ward 2.
Yes.
Ward 3.
Yes.
Ward 4.
Yes.
Ward 5.
Yeah.
Ward 6.
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. The next item is a application from Muskin Enterprises, LLC, doing business as Quick Shop, for a beer and wine package license for 814 North Jefferson Street.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved. Any second?
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any questions for the marshal, Ms. Howard?
No question.
Mayor Pro Tem?
No question.
Commissioner Fletcher?
No questions.
Commissioner Warbington?
No questions.
Mr. Langstaff?
No question.
Ms. Young?
No questions.
And could we call the roll? Mr. Talbot?
Ward 1.
No.
Ward 2.
Yes.
Ward 3.
Yes.
Ward 4.
Yes.
Ward 5.
Ward 5 is yes.
Ward 6.
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. And the next item on the agenda is a proposal. Thank you, Ms. Norman. Next item on the agenda is a proposal to award a contract to Richter Construction of Georgia, LLC, to install the roof at 2111 North Jefferson Street.
Motion to approve?
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions for staff? Commissioner Howard.
I would like that.
Mr. Gray, could you step up, please?
Mr. Grant.
Good
Good evening, how you do? Do you know the actual cost that we paid for this Pace building?
Off the top of my head, it was a little over $1 million, I believe.
And so by we doing this tonight, this should be the final thing we're doing, right? To
This is
enhance the
not
building?
This is not the final thing for the Pace building in total. The re-roofing of the Pace building is a direct result of the change in scope where we're moving the data center over to the Pace building. And we have another agenda item tonight that is also related to the Pace building.
Okay, but you did say that we paid $1 million for it, right?
That's off the top of my head. I really need to go back. That was a couple of years ago, so I want to look at the figures before I say something on record on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Gray, can we get that figure for the commission?
Absolutely, sir. I'll have it in a few minutes.
I was thinking it was 750, but okay. We'll get that, Commissioner Howard. Any further questions? Mayor Pro Tem.
No questions. If I recall correctly, I know Mr. Gray will find, I believe the purchase price was $260 of the Pace building.
Did you say 260?
$260,000, yes, sir. That
Oh.
was the purchase price of the building.
Okay. All right. Okay. We'll get that. We'll get that number for you. Commissioner Fletcher.
No questions?
Commissioner Warrington.
Yeah, just a quick question. I don't know if Mr. Carter or Mr. Gray, but just in terms of any additional change orders coming in the future, looks like we had a pretty large change order on the air conditioning, which was due to the fiber optic equipment, and then pretty large change order on the roof. But any other large items coming down the road, just to, so we know what the scope going forward?
This next item that we'll talk about this evening should be the largest change order, sir, the HVAC mechanicals.
Okay. All right. Yep, that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Langstaff.
No question.
Commissioner Young.
No questions.
Talbot, could we call the issue for a vote?
Ward 1,
Yeah.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yes.
Ward 6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is appointments to various boards. The first is a appointment to the Power Supply Committee. I think Commissioner Warmington had agreed that he would serve on that. Is that correct, Commissioner Warmington?
Yes.
Okay. With that, I'd nominate Commissioner Warmington.
Second?
Okay. Any further nominations? If not, can we call for a vote on Commissioner Warmington?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
before we take that vote, I guess the tenure of office, is that the tenure of, going to be Mr. Warmington's position in office as far as this appointment?
Yes, that's my understanding, Mr. Stock, but of course now, Commissioner Young, tenure of office is only the 4-year term.
Yeah, I understand
Okay.
that, but why is that not like other board positions for, 2-year appointments?
I don't know. I mean, I guess Mr. Stock needs to come to, each of these, as you see, are tenure of office.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was just tenure of office. If you want to adjust the term, we can adjust the term.
Well, I would rather see that reflect kind of what other board appointments are doing, in terms of the 2-year appointments. I don't know, are there other Madam Clerk, are there other that are tenure of office?
Well, most commission appointments, it's a few, I want to say aviation is a yearly appointment of a commissioner. Pension board is a 2-year term. We normally put the same one on. There are other boards that are tenure of office. It goes either way.
Okay.
It can go either way.
Well, I would like to revisit that at another time if we want to just go ahead and take
Okay.
the vote.
All right, that's, so we calling the roll, aren't we?
Ward 1,
Yes.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yes.
Ward 6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. The next is an appointment to the Albany Housing Authority. That's the mayor's appointment, and Mr. Kelly Jenkins indicated he would like to be reappointed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins is duly appointed. The next appointment is to the Animal Control Board. Dr. Steve Watley has indicated he is willing to continue to serve. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would any member like to nominate Dr. Watley or anyone else to that position?
Motion to nominate Dr. Watley.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other nominations? If not, can we call the roll on Dr. Watley?
Ward 1,
Yes.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yes.
Ward 6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. Next is, it says there are 2 appointments to Chee Authority, but if you will look, there are actually 3 appointments. I think Ms. Ligon has served 6 years, which here, I mean, the continuity, Commissioner Young, the Housing Authority appointments are for 5 years. Looks like Aviation Commission's 3 years. I got ahead of myself. Okay, but we actually have 3 appointments to the Chee Park Authority. Mr. Nathan Borer and Ms. Rochelle Bitterman have indicated they would like to be reappointed.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
we have 3 appointments, right?
Yes, sir.
I would nominate the 2 individuals that would like to go back on, and then there's another individual that have expressed interest in serving on the Chee Park Authority, and I'm correct, I think that Mr. David Daniel.
Okay. So those 3 appointments, can we vote on the slate, Mr. Davis?
Excuse me, Mayor?
Yeah.
Mine only says 2 appointments.
I know, but we actually have 3 appointments. If you look, Ms. Ligon's term is up. On page 28.
28.
Ms. Davis, can we vote on the slate? Ms. Davis,
He didn't hear you.
can we vote on the slate? Yes, sir. Okay. There's a motion. Is there a second for the 3 nominations?
I was second.
Okay. I think you made the motion, Commissioner Howard.
Can you review the 3 slates, the 3?
Yes,
names
it
again?
would be Nathan Borer, Rochelle Bitterman, and David Daniels. Is that correct? Commissioner Howard?
That's correct.
Chair would second the motion. Any discussion? Commissioner Howard?
No further discussion.
Mayor Pro Tem?
No discussion.
Commissioner Fletcher?
No discussion.
Commissioner Worthington?
Yep. My only question is, we don't have any information on this David Daniels.
Okay.
Like, you know, you normally you have a
Okay.
letter.
I received it this afternoon.
Oh, you did receive a letter?
I did. I received everything this afternoon, right prior before the meeting.
Okay.
Didn't have a chance to send it out. I thought we were going to vote on that one next month, but
I guess for me, I would like to make a substitute motion
Okay.
that we, Nathan Borer and Rochelle Bitterman, and hold off on the 3rd one until
Okay.
we can get, you know, information on who he is,
Okay.
where he lives. I mean, some of the members of the commission may know him, but I don't know
Okay.
who he is.
Is there a second
I'll
to the?
second that.
To the substitute motion? Okay, let's vote on the substitute motion. Commissioner Howard?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Commissioner Fletcher?
Yes.
Commissioner Worthington?
Yes.
Commissioner Langstaff?
Yes, but I'd like to point out, did we vote on the Aviation Commission, or are we taking these out of order?
I'm coming back to it. I'm sorry. Okay, Commissioner Young?
All right, yeah, I'm a yes on the She-Hulk.
Commissioner Young?
No.
Okay, Mayor votes no, but those, Mr. Borer and Ms. Bitterman are duly appointed, and we have one more appointment for next month. And we'll get Mr. Daniels' information circulated. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And as Commissioner Langstaff pointed out, I passed over the Aviation Commission. Mr. Chanyu Kuntawala has asked to be reappointed. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Would anyone like to nominate?
I nominate Mr. Chinju
Ward
Quata.
5 makes the motion to reappoint him.
Okay.
Okay. Would you make a second, Commissioner Langstaff? Commissioner Howard made the motion.
Yes, yes.
Motion is second. Any discussion, Commissioner Howard?
No further discussion.
Mayor Pro Tem?
No discussion.
Commissioner Fletcher?
No discussion.
Commissioner Worthington?
No discussion.
Commissioner Langstaff?
No discussion.
Commissioner Young?
No discussion.
Could we call the roll, Mr. Tucker?
Ward 1,
Yes.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Ward 5 is yes.
Ward 6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor is yes. And next, we have the situation with the Community Development Council. It's my understanding Mr. Tracy Taylor, President Fedrick, Carol Taylor, John Hawthorne, Sherelle Bird, Alma Noble, Clara Knight, and Timothy Sweet Hulp have all asked to be reappointed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any other applications?
Not at this time.
Okay. Would any member of the board like to nominate any or all of those individuals who have expressed
Mr.
desire
Mayor,
to continue?
I nominate the several individuals you called to the Community Development Council.
Okay. So, is there a second, Commissioner Howard?
Second.
Okay. Motion is second. Any discussion? Commissioner Howard?
No further discussion.
Mayor Pro Tem? Commissioner Fletcher?
No discussion.
Commissioner Young? Commissioner Worthington?
No discussion.
Commissioner Langstaff?
No discussion.
Commissioner Young?
No discussion.
For clarification, the motion in the second is to reappoint Tracy Taylor, Marion Fedrick, Carol Turner, John Hawthorne, Sherelle Bird, Alma Noble, Clara Knight, and Timothy Sweet Hope. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, can we call the roll? Ms. Tucker?
Ward 1,
Yes.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yes.
Ward 6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. And the last appointments are, we have 3 appointments to the Downtown Development Authority. Ms. Thelma Johnson, Mr. Omar Salam, and Stanley Logue have all expressed interest in being reappointed. And I understand they're not prohibited from being reappointed. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I nominated 3 individuals to be reappointed Community Development Authority Board.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Commissioner Howard?
No further discussion.
Mayor Pro Tem?
No discussion.
Commissioner Fletcher?
No discussion.
Commissioner Worthington?
Yeah, so the 4th position, are we going to re-advertise?
Yeah, we'll continue advertising.
Okay, for the 4th seat?
Yes.
Okay, that's it, Mayor.
Commissioner Langstaff?
No discussion.
Commissioner Young?
Just for clarity, I think Commissioner Howard said Community Development, Downtown Development Board, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, no discussion.
Okay. Could we call the roll? So,
Ward 1,
Yes.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yes.
Ward 6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. The next 2 items are zoning cases, and the next is zoning case 21-28. It is a request to rezone much of Wildcross and Florary subdivisions from CR to R2. Good evening, Mr. Forgy.
Good evening, sir.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Forgy? Ms. Howard?
No question.
Mayor Pro Tem?
No question.
Commissioner Fletcher?
No questions?
Mr. Warmington?
This may sound like a dumb question, but I guess there are no zonings pending for all these lots. There's nothing that was in the
No,
queue that this would disrupt?
nothing pending. There has been some discussion about lots, but no applications.
Okay, so basically this would be effective as of tonight. So if somebody came tomorrow to put in a zoning application, it would be per the new.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Langstaff?
No question.
Commissioner Young?
No questions.
Would any member of the commission move to approve the zoning request?
Mayor,
Oh, that's all ordinance, I'm sorry.
I'll offer the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent to dispense with the second reading and ask for its adoption.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? There being none, could we call the roll, Ms. Talbot?
Ward 1,
Yes.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yes.
Ward 6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. The next item is a request from Mr. Calvin Beckham to rezone a .33 acre tract on Old Cordell Road from CR to C2, approved by the Zoning Commission 6-0. Any questions for Mr. Forgy?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I offer the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent, dispense with second reading, and ask for its adoption.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Commissioner Howard?
No further discussion.
Mayor Pro Tem?
No discussion.
Commissioner Fletcher?
No discussion?
Mr. Warmington?
No discussion.
Commissioner Langstaff?
No discussion.
Commissioner Young?
No discussion.
Could we call the roll, Ms. Talbot?
Ward 1,
Yes.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3, Ward 3,
Oh, yeah, yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yes.
Ward 6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. And the next item on the agenda, page 66, is the budget for fiscal year 2022. Proposal to adopt the budget and appropriations in an amount of $291,927,793. Good evening, Mr. Carter.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
I'm honored to present to you the final version of the fiscal year 22 budget. The team, which includes every department in the city, has worked hard to present you a fiscally responsible, balanced budget. The final number I'm asking you to approve tonight is $291,927,793. Included in this budget is a 2.5% employee raise, which we debated about, but finally got the consensus last week to move forward. All of your employees, thank you for that. This has been a trying year for all of us. We've all suffered in one way or another, but we've all triumphed as Team Albany. Also included in this budget is an additional employee that will be assigned to the care of Ms. Yvette Fields, the director of our Central Services Division. We have been very fortunate receiving several grants and from multiple agencies. And one of the things that keep me up at night, though, is how we're managing those grants. Are we really taking care of doing those things that we're supposed to do and making sure we're hitting the milestone and making sure that at the end of the day, we don't have to return money because we've mismanaged money. And I've asked Mrs. Yvette Fields and her team to take care of that for me. But also included in that, we're going to really start looking at how we have traditionally interacted with our disadvantaged businesses. She's and her team is going to help me devise a plan to, first of all, look at what we've traditionally done, but also take a look at any barriers that the city may be creating as a result of our practices. and then engaging in the community to put forth a sincere effort to raise their participation in those contracts that's going to be awarded by the city. You've also passed the gunshot detection system. We've just adjusted the budget to accommodate $220,000 to acquire, install, and maintain that system. We're counting on that being a force multiplier to assist our police department not only in identifying, but cleaning up some of the gun violence in our city. However, I do warn you that this is not a total solution. This is not a magic pill. It's just a simple tool that we use to help fight that fight. You've also increased the city's contribution to the Economic Development Commission by $100,000 starting this budget year and continuing annually after that. We've reallocated $2.6 million at the airport to account for some cost increase for the hangars. Fortunately, that increase is covered by federal funding. There's no requirement to make an additional allotment from the city to cover that. We've also have a new, not a new contract, but a renewal of a contract with the ESG, the contract responsible for monitoring and maintaining our sewer and stormwater systems. This is the normal annual renewal of that contract, and it was expected, so that's not anything brand new. But finally, I want to say thank you to each of you for your support as we work through this process. This makes our 4th meeting having budget discussion. This has been challenging, but collectively, we've developed a strong path forward. I cannot end this without acknowledging our finance team. They've been instrumental all the way in educating me and us and in the ways that we can take those things that are important to you and integrate those into our budget. Without fail, every time I've called on them, Derek and Michael and his entire team have come through, and I say thank you to each one of them. Mayor and Commissioners, I present to you the fiscal year 2022 budget, and I'm subject to any questions that you may have concerning that item.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Carter. Any questions of Mr. Carter? Ms. Howard?
Mr. Carter,
Yes, sir.
is Mr. Derek
Derek
Brown in the room?
Absolutely.
Can he come to the podium?
Mr. Brown, you're coming to the podium.
Commissioner, and good evening, brother, and Mayor and Commissioners. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Brown. How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
In this budget that we are going to vote on within a matter of minutes, my concern is that in this budget that since Concrete Enterprise will be taking over the east side from Slappy back to Pine Bluff Road, have you got a number of the number of the employees that may lose their job or not being able to transfer to another different department?
We don't have any that won't be able to transfer. So as a result of this, even though that department's overall head count will come down, there will be no loss of jobs by city employees.
Okay, and so those that on the back of the garbage truck that are contract workers, so most likely they probably next month will probably be the last rendezvous, right?
I can't speak to that. I see Mr. Stock is here. He may be better able to speak to that level of detail. If you want him to answer that specifically,
okay.
Let me let him answer that.
Can he come forward,
Yes,
Mr. Scott?
As he come, I can tell you the answer to that question is no, sir. There will be nobody laid off as a result of this contract.
Even the contract workers, the contract workers that pick up the trash.
Everybody that have been identified in this process, we've allocated a new position for them. Now they'll be offered an opportunity to transition. Naturally, we can't force anybody to transition, but we'll be offering a transition for them.
Okay, that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem, any questions for the city manager? Mr. Brown? Anyone else?
No questions.
Mr. Fletcher?
Well, no questions, but just make sure you say that clearly again, because we have discussed this for 4 times. No one will lose their job. They will all be repositioned, or they could all, it's totally up to them, correct?
Absolutely. Everyone, as a result of that contract, will be absorbed back into the city. There will be
Okay.
no loss of jobs as a result of this.
All right, yeah, we've heard that for 4 weeks, but I just want to make sure nothing had changed and the people know that we are not in the business of putting people out of business. Thank you,
Absolutely
sir.
not. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Commissioner Worthington?
Mr. Carter, I just want to commend you and staff. I mean, I know the budget is one of y'all's biggest
Oh, yes, sir. It's eating up a lot of
task.
time.
It is. I know y'all started in January, February, and really for staff to bring us a budget that's not just balanced, but with a surplus, with cost of living increases for everyone, as well as all the new initiatives, and for the general public and citizens to have no utility increases.
Yes, sir.
And tax increases. I mean, that's just phenomenal. So I appreciate the work y'all put towards getting us to this point. And
Thank you, sir.
fielding all our million questions and options, and I know that took a lot of work as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Langstaff?
No question.
Commissioner Young?
Yes, sir. Just want to thank you and the finance staff for your hard work on this budget. A couple of questions going back to the contract for the trash pickup on the east side.
Yes, sir.
We talked a lot about, the possible cost savings of that measure. Have you all worked out any of the cost savings being returned to ratepayers for Albany utilities?
There's not an option right now to lower the rates, if that's what you're indicating, sir?
Well, I'm just asking, had you done any research as to what could possibly be the benefits for WG&L customers in having this total shift in providing garbage services? When we talk about the savings and the costs to the city, ratepayers are paying those costs. So have we done any research in terms of returning some of those savings to ratepayers?
No, sir. The plan right now is not to reduce rates. The plan right now is to make sure that we avoid the cost that would have been incurred if we had continued to do business. This whole process spawned out of a request through our utility board to purchase some vehicles. Those vehicles are pretty expensive, and one of the questions was asked, well, is it more economical to purchase these vehicles, maintain the customers, or not the customers, maintain the employees in that same position, and maintain the equipment that we've had to purchase? Not just that, but there was additional purchases that we will have to make. As a result of that conversation, our utility board decided it would maybe be a good idea for us to take a look at, is it more advantageous to use a private contractor than to use in-house staff? The budget analysis of that indicated the cost would be less if we went with a third party that was already doing the west side of town. So that's how we ended up there. It wasn't based on, hey, we're going to reduce the rates. It was really based on what's the most economical means of handling that. Can they do it more efficiently? And can we avoid a lot of the costs that would have come as a result of maintaining that in-house?
Yes, sir. I understand that conversation, and of course, I think many of us on this board feel that that conversation should have happened at this board, not at the utility commission. So, with that in mind, I think the next time a decision like that is made, we need to be thinking about what's the cost savings to our ratepayers. Because overall, we can say we're not raising utility rates, but the utility rates are already too high. So we need to find a way to relieve that burden on utility payers. This is not new. This is many, many years that people have been complaining about utility rates that have been raised in the past. More than half of the city's budget comes from ratepayers. Now, if we still had that same type of situation in terms of property tax payers, we'd definitely be trying to figure out a way to lower property taxes. So we need to figure out a way to lower utility rates. Okay? But I appreciate your hard work, and I understand the constrictions that you are under as the interim manager, so we'll work that out when we get down the road. What I'll ask for at this time, Mr. Mayor, as a point of order, is that overall in this budget process, we know there has been considerable interest from the community And I would like if this board would allow the community to have some time to make some comments. In other cases, probably the mask mandate being one of them, where we have taken a vote on the same day we have taken comments on the same day we have voted. I think this should be one of those occasions because of the large community interest in the budget. We are spending we're spending close to $300 million of taxpayers, ratepayers, sales taxpayers' money, and I think they should be heard in some form or fashion before we take this vote, and I would hope that the rest of the commission would agree to that.
Okay. Is that, well, it's the practice of this board, and has been for quite some time, that in the regular monthly meeting, the public does not address the commission. So my answer would be no. If we want to poll the commission, we would certainly do that. The other issue is we've had public hearings, and the public has had an opportunity to speak at each of the public hearings on the budget. So we're not, I mean, that's my opinion, but if you want me to poll the commission, I'd certainly do that, Commissioner Young.
I would like that.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. The issue as presented, and correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner Young, is a request that the public, no limit on who the public is, be allowed to speak at this meeting tonight on the budget. Is that correct?
In whatever form you say, Mr. Mayor, you know we have wide discretion as to how much comment we allow. I think that's at your discretion. I think that's at the discretion of the board. All I'm asking is for that opportunity.
Okay. All right. Was that? Well, would the issue be framed differently then? Let me ask that.
I'm not sure what you mean.
I mean, we're asking to allow the public to speak.
Whatever everybody can agree to, if that's going to be allowed, whether it be a minute, 2 minutes,
okay,
5 people, 10 people, whatever that is, I think we need to offer the public some time to speak.
Okay. I mean, would you like to make a specific proposal?
Okay, well, I'll make a specific proposal that we have at least 10 members of the community to speak for 2 minutes on the budget.
Okay. Okay. The proposal is a request that at least 10 members of the community be allowed to speak on the budget for 2 minutes. Okay. What is your wish, Commissioner Howard?
I would say let them speak for 2 minutes.
You said let them speak. Okay. Mayor Pro Tem.
No.
Commissioner Fletcher.
No.
Commissioner Warburton.
No.
Commissioner Langstaff. Commissioner Langstaff.
No.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Mayor votes no.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Unfortunately,
can we,
want to hear public at this time. Again, yes, we have spoken. Thank you, Commissioner Young, for the alley-oop. Y'all know what this money is.
Mayor,
Okay.
I have to call a point of order, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is not appropriate.
So-
I submitted accordingly, there will be consequences and repercussions, long-lasting. We already feeling it. The community people are dying.
Okay,
Y'all play games.
that's all, Mr. Yang. If you please be seated, sir. Please be seated.
We gonna go, we gonna let you vote, and we gonna let you have what's coming next. Go ahead.
Okay.
Have your vote.
Okay. All right.
You are allowed to have your vote.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
before we vote, can I go back and have another assessment of the budget?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Mr. Carter and Mr. Brown, let me thank you for the budget of $291 million. And what I'm going to say will be within the confinement of this room. That as a commission that represent constituents in East Albany, and as one of the commissioners said earlier, that the utility board, Mr. Mayor, made this recommendation that in order to purchase new vehicles, that we should consider giving this contract to Concrete Enterprise. Unfortunate, this year, it was voted by the majority of the commissioner to give this contract to Concrete Enterprise, and I'm not here to chastise anyone, but I will let you know that at this meeting that we had a majority of the vote to give a contract of the east side from east of Slafford back to Pine Bluff Road to a company that had no experience in trash collection. And the proposal is that when this passed tonight, that they would get a balloon payment of over $369,000. The ratepayers of this community, whether we try to use a sophisticated word, but there will be a rate increase of $2.69 added on to the utility bill. So there will be a rate increase of $2.69. And I did some further studying that I'm not here to question no one integrity, but when I look at the evaluation when this came up, that I'm suspicious that something, as my grandma said, in the milk ain't clean. When a big ticket item like this should have, Mr. Mayor, been brought through Public Works rather than your utility board. They are for setting rates, gas, and electricity. But I know they do buy trucks because of electricians out there, like bucket trucks, things of that nature. But to buy garbage trucks, this proposal should have came through from Public Works. And Mr. Mayor, another observation is that when President Biden was sworn in, that there was some money allocated to American Rescue Plan Act. At the retreat, it was agreed on, but not a straw poll, that we should not use this $10 million and the other 10 that we would get in July 30, 2022. But this board has voted that we shall get this $10 million and put it in infrastructure. There's a bill that is pending in the Senate that there will be some more money coming down from Washington. There has been a speculation, maybe $1 trillion for infrastructure, but in order to get the bill passed, it probably will be reduced. And then that money will come directly to the states and then will filter down into the city. And we was lucky, and I will tell you that I campaigned like a person wants some water for the 2 elected senators we got from Georgia. Mr. Mayor, I know this budget is going to pass because it only takes 4 votes. But if it is the will of the Creator that some of us are here next year, that other $10 million, I will not vote for it if I'm here. It should go for some of the depressed and insecure areas and areas that a lot of cushion is needed. Mr. Mayor, and to my colleague, I would say, let's do the right thing. And we can pull this money back and put it in the hands of areas that need it more. Mr. Mayor, I apologize for running over. I usually don't speak that long, but because of American Rescue Plan and Act, that we know, and talking with our Bruce Maple and the individuals, Constantine, that did an assessment of our infrastructure that is underground, that to fix is going to cost over $311 million. However, I am aware from talking to the engineer that in 2025, we got to capture 85% of the infrastructure of those catch basins that run into the water is what we call combined sewer overflow. At the last meeting, I did ask the engineer, and for those that may not be aware, EPD and EPA is nothing that a city wants to do. But with such inundated and arcade infrastructure, I believe, not as an engineer, but just using common sense, that we will have to go back to EPD because we would not be able to do a combined sewer overflow within the next 4 years. Plus the clock is ticking. We had, when we decided to look at it, it was in October of 2020, and now 6 more months we'll be into October, so a year has escaped. And I'm almost confident that if this infrastructure money come down, that we can talk to our freshman elected officials, senators, and it is our hope that they know the ins and outs of this community. When they campaigned, when they did decide to come to Albany, Georgia, you can rest assured that it was giving Mr. Mayor an earful. In all honesty, as a commissioner, because of the way this item cannot be taken out from the budget like a line item budget, the American Rescue money and this contract. Looking at it, Mr. Mayor, to my colleague, my vote is to vote no on the budget.
Okay, around the table again. Mayor Pro Tem, any questions, comments? Mr. Fletcher?
No questions or comments.
Ms. Warburton?
Yeah. Mayor, this may be more appropriate at the end for new agenda items, but I would say it at this point since we're talking about it. I would like to suggest next month that we form a task force to begin to look at all the different options of potential ways of spending the money. You know, one of the things too that you think about as a community, we're actually getting 70 million as a community. We're focused on 20 because that's what's ours at this board is concerned with. But I believe we should invite the school board to participate, the county participate, and have a task force that kind of breaks out what does our community need, get the experts in the different areas, and really to begin to work on what are those options, so that when new monies are allocated, we're ready. Unfortunately, we have 1 week to pass this budget. We will be out of compliance. We'll be breaking the law if we don't have this passed in a week. I just don't think we have a week to hash all that out. But certainly with monies that are coming, new programs, our other colleagues on the other commissions, I haven't heard any discussions on the other commissions. I don't know if anybody else has, but certainly the city is in the spotlight. But really the spotlight should be on our community, not just one entity of the three. So I say that as a new agenda item, Mayor, for next month, to talk about as a commission, how do we form a task force to include staff, us, experts in the community, of starting to work through those different options of what we could possibly do with more money that's coming.
Okay. Commissioner Langstaff?
No comment.
Commissioner Young?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With respect to what Commissioner Warburton was just saying, the only reason the spotlight is on this 20 million is because of what we're deciding to do with the 20 million. And that's where we have a lot of consternation about. We know what we went through, COVID-19, almost 300 deaths right now, thousands of people infected. We know we were globally ranked at one time in the world. We all know these stories. And, I want to give a little leeway to our discussions that we were having at the retreat, because at that time, we did not have the information. But now, we know better. We know what this money is meant for. So maybe some of you didn't support those candidates who brought about this money. We sat here for nearly a year as a board, hoping we would get some money from the previous administration, but we didn't get it. We knew we needed relief money, but it didn't come. Once thousands of Albanians came out during COVID and selected a new administration, selected new senators, we got the relief that we wanted. We got the money that we needed to recover as a community, and it's here. And we can do so much with that right now. A lot of this conversation has, evolved once again in Albany, Georgia, around race, and that's poignant. Not because a lot of us, like I always get taxed with as being some kind of racial divider, but because that is what is exactly in the Biden Executive Order 13985. And I'll read it to you here. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered, Section 1, policy. Equal opportunity is the bedrock of American democracy, and our diversity is one of our country's greatest strengths. But for too many, the American dream remains out of reach. Entrenched disparities in our laws and public policies and in our public and private institutions have often denied the equal opportunity to individuals and communities. Our country faces a converging economy, health, climate crisis that have exposed and exacerbated inequities. While a historic movement for justice has highlighted the unbearable human costs of systemic racism, our nation deserves an ambitious whole of government equity agenda that matches the scale of the opportunities and challenges that we face. Elsewhere in this document, it talks about serving communities of color. It talks about civil rights. It talks about communities that have disparate poverty. This document talks about Albany, Georgia. This $20 million that we are in charge of, we not only have to do what's right, we have to do what's lawful. What I'm reading to you is the law declared by the President of the United States. So, we can decide that, okay, we're going to put this money on the sewer system, and as some have said that, oh, that serves everybody in the community. I guess because we all go to the bathroom. I don't know what that logic is about, but we understand that while we talk about one Albany, we know there are two realities in Albany. And these are the things that if you really want one Albany, you should be trying to fix. So I'll say to you now, let's not be hasty with this money. Let's think about what we have to do. And to Mr. Warburton's point that we'll be out of compliance or somehow be unlawful by not passing a budget right now, we make the law. That's what this body is. We legislate what we can do if we have 4 votes. And if those 4 votes decide to wait and see, we've waited and saw what we could do or not do with this sewer system for almost 20 years now. We've collected money from citizens to do something about this sewer system. We've had an opportunity. Don't take this opportunity away from the community to recover. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Young. Just to speak to this, I have made the point before that unless we allocate these funds, this $10 million to the separation project, we're going to have to raise revenue one of 2 ways. We're going to have to raise the revenue through rates, and that's going to impact the poorest because those individuals pay a higher proportion of their household income on their utilities. And it would reduce the available funding from SPLOST. And that is an opportunity to improve our recreation facilities throughout the city. Let me say this. It is not a matter of we've done nothing for 20 years and have to do something now. We are required to make these improvements by 2025. Otherwise, the city is subject to penalties. We're going to do whatever we can. I have said before, and I'm saying tonight, this $10 million, together with $4 million that was allocated from the state, and $2 million in SPLOST we have, is $16 million. That is what is going to cost, am I correct, Mr. Carter?
Yes.
The first year of this project. Now, the infrastructure bill comes down. If there's funds that we can allocate, then the balance of the American Rescue Plan money is coming next year. And we'll address it at that point in time. I can assure, okay, that is my position, and I want to further emphasize that we've had localized flooding in areas for generations, and that will be corrected with this project. And with that, the chair would entertain a motion. Any commissioner want to offer the ordinance?
I offer the ordinance and ask for its unanimous consent to dispense with the second reading and ask for its adoption.
Mr. Mayor, I do not waive the right of unanimous consent.
Okay, I think we have to have a second, but there's a ordinance. Is there a second?
I second it, Mayor.
Second, okay.
Okay,
And
Mr. Mayor, I do not waive the right of unanimous
Mr. Young
consent.
has exercised his right to insist upon a second reading, which he has the right to do. But with that, could we call for a vote? Ms. Talbot?
Ward 1,
No.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yes.
Ward 6,
No.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. The,
Hey, hey, ho, ho, hey, hey, ho, ho. Lord, hey, thank y'all very much for recognizing us.
next item, moving to resolutions.
Mayor, if I
Yes.
can interject.
Yes,
Is it appropriate to talk about when we're going to have to have a special call meeting?
yes. What's the will of the commission? Commissioner Howard, I was thinking next Tuesday, is that okay?
This puts us 2 days from July 1st.
Okay, when would you rather have it?
Well, I guess, Mr. Davis, is there a legal requirement for the second reading? We got to wait. I guess you got to put 24 hours notice to the public. That's the only requirement.
That is,
So we could do it Thursday or Friday
yes.
or Monday or Tuesday.
Okay, well, what's the preference, Commissioner Howard?
Of this week or what?
No, we got to do it for
Just
July
before the
1st.
first, yes, anytime before the first.
Commissioner Howard, any preference? Mayor Pro Tem, we'll come back.
Okay.
I would prefer to do it this Thursday.
This Thursday, is the afternoon okay?
Afternoon's good.
Okay. Commissioner Fletcher?
Yeah, it's got to be Thursday afternoon, but I can do that.
Okay. Commissioner Warrington?
Yeah, Thursday.
Okay. And, Commissioner Langstaff?
That works for me.
Okay. Ms. Young? Okay. Commissioner Howard, Thursday
doesn't matter.
afternoon, okay?
What time we can say?
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem, what time?
Why don't we say 2 o'clock? Does that work for everybody?
Okay, 2 o'clock? Is that okay, Commissioner Howard?
We'll make it work.
Okay. Ms. Fletcher, 2 o'clock, is okay?
That's fine.
Ms. Warrington?
2 o'clock's good for me.
Commissioner Langstaff?
That works for me.
Okay. Ms. Young?
That's fine.
2 o'clock Thursday. We can get the notice out, right, Ms. Talbot?
Yes.
Okay, good news. Next, we move to the resolutions. First item is a request to allocate SPLOST 7 funds for the purchase of fiber distribution equipment for the Pace Building.
I offer the resolution and ask for its adoption.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any questions for staff? Commissioner Howard?
No question.
Mayor Pro Tem?
No question.
Commissioner Fletcher?
No questions.
Commissioner Warrington?
No question.
Commissioner Langstaff?
No question.
Commissioner Young?
No questions.
Mayor, before you go forward,
Yes.
can I mention something about the Pace Building? We did find the purchase price, it was $260,000.
Okay, we got, Commissioner Howard, we got that?
Where did we get the $1 million from, Mr. Gray?
That was our budget.
Yeah.
Right,
That was our budget, right?
that was the original budget for.
The original budget was 1 million.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know.
And
where
I've
it came up with
resent to
750.
each of you the project schedule that lists everything that's needed to be purchased for the rest of the renovation of that building. So you should each have that in your emails already.
Okay. Motion and a second. Could we call the roll? Ms. Talbot?
Ward 1,
Yeah.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yeah.
Ward 6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. And the next item on the agenda is a request for authorization to allocate SPLOST 7 funds for a change order for the mechanical HVAC for the Pace Building.
I offer the resolution and ask for its adoption.
Motion, is there a second?
I second.
Motion is second. Any questions for staff or discussion? Commissioner Howard.
No discussion.
Mayor Pro Tem.
No discussion.
Commissioner Fletcher.
No discussion.
Commissioner Warmington.
No discussion.
Commissioner Langstaff.
No discussion.
Commissioner Young.
No discussion.
Okay, could we call the roll, Ms. Talbot?
Ward 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5,
Yes.
6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. The next item on the agenda is a request to accept a local maintenance and improvement grant of $150,000.
I offer the resolution and ask for its adoption.
Motion is second. Any questions for staff? Commissioner Howard.
No question.
Mayor Pro Tem.
No question.
No questions.
Mr. Fletcher. Commissioner Warmington.
No question.
Commissioner Langstaff.
No question.
Commissioner Young.
No questions.
We call the roll. Ms. Talbot.
Ward 1,
Yes.
2, 3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5,
Yes.
6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. Next item is a recommendation that we approve a brownfield grant from the EPA in the amount of $300,000.
I offer the resolution and ask for its adoption.
Motion is second. Any discussions for staff? Commissioner Howard.
No discussion.
Mayor Pro Tem.
No.
Commissioner Fletcher.
No discussion.
Commissioner Warmington.
No discussion.
Commissioner Langstaff.
No discussion.
Commissioner Young.
No discussion.
We call the roll. Ms. Talbot.
Ward 1,
Yes.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yes.
Ward 6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. And the next item on the agenda is a request to authorize APD to submit a grant application to the United States Department of Justice Community Policing Development Micro Grants Program.
I offer the resolution and ask for its adoption.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is a second. Any discussion or questions for staff? Commissioner Howard.
No discussion.
Mayor Pro Tem.
No question.
Commissioner Fletcher.
No discussion.
Commissioner Warmington.
No discussion.
Commissioner Langstaff.
No discussion.
Commissioner Young.
No discussion.
Can we call the roll, please? Mr. Talbot.
Ward 1,
Yes.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yes.
Ward 6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. The next item on the agenda seeks to amend the contract with ESG Operations, approve a CPI adjustment of 3.46% to increase the contract by $49,176 per year, with the understanding that ESG will provide a crane, purchase and provide a crane, and to modify the contract so that while it will be extended for 5 years from July 1st, 2021, it will expire at the end of that 5 years.
I offer the resolution and ask for its adoption.
Second with some discussion.
Okay? Any discussion or questions for staff? Commissioner Howard.
Is Mr. Bruce on the line?
He's back there. He's there.
Explain this in detail a little.
Well, this would be Mr. Stocks.
Okay, Mr. Stocks.
This is the ESG contract?
Right.
Okay, that would be Public Works.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Good evening. So this contract is with ESG for the lift station maintenance and the maintenance at the wastewater treatment plant.
Okay, and so they need a crane just to do some other maintenance?
To do the lift station maintenance on the pumps, on the large pumps, especially on the storm station pumps.
Okay.
The city has no other need for a crane of that size.
Okay. And what, and the cost is what now?
I'm sorry?
And the cost,
Of
the train, we gonna rent it?
no, I reached out to different rental possibilities and no one would rent it on that kind of a basis.
Oh, okay, okay, thank you.
With that kind of availability.
Okay.
Any questions or discussion, Mayor Pro Tem?
No discussion.
No questions.
Commissioner Fletcher?
No discussions.
Commissioner Worthington?
No discussion.
Commissioner Langstaff?
No discussion.
Commissioner Young?
No discussion.
Could we call the roll? Ms. Talbot?
Ward 1,
Yes.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yes.
Ward 6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. The next item on the agenda is a request for a permanent easement in favor of Norfolk Southern so that they can install lights, traffic control lights at 5 intersections in the city.
I offer the ordinance and ask for its unanimous, no, what am I doing?
Second.
Ask for its adoption.
I second.
Yeah.
Offer the resolution, ask for its
Ahead of
adoption.
it.
She did.
Okay.
Yeah, Commissioner Howard seconded.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any discussion or questions for staff? Commissioner Howard?
No further discussion.
Mayor Pro Tem?
No questions.
Commissioner Fletcher?
No questions.
Commissioner Worthington?
No questions.
Commissioner Langstaff?
No questions.
Commissioner Young?
No questions.
Okay. Could we call the roll, Ms. Talbot?
Ward 1,
Yes.
Ward 2,
Yes.
Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yes.
Ward 6, Ward 6,
Yes.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes. And the next item is a conditional item. It's another amendment to the agreement with J-Car Development. Okay, Mr. Davis?
Yes, so there are numerous parties to this agreement, 207 Pine LLC, J-Car Development, DDA, and the city approved the amendment number 1. Then when it went to DDA, if you'll look at page 132 and 131 of your agenda, it was a virtual meeting, and I remember the discussion on page 132 where it says acquisition for city building. The original document had a 7-digit number, and that was from J-Car, and that was based on an appraisal, and DDA asked that the actual acquisition cost, which was $100,000, be put in. And then the other one about was modified concerning tenant and building improvements. And then on page 131, it shows the other changes requested. These were requested by J-Car. So that's where we are. The pages, if this passes tonight, pages 3. Well, it's 131 in the agenda package, and it's labeled 3A, and then page 132 in the agenda item is 4A. Those will supersede 3 and 4 in the original amendment. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Carter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I mean, excuse me for breaking in line here, but my primary concern I'm seeing on page 131, city must relocate City of Albany 911 data center by August 2021.
We met with J-Car's group yesterday on that very subject,
and made it clear to them there is absolutely no way possible that we can meet that date. What they wanted to talk about as a result of that was how can we schedule some downtimes when they have to do electrical shutoffs and things like that. Told them we have a UPS and a generator in that building. If they give us sufficient leeway, we can make adjustments and make sure that we can accommodate that. It just can't be down for days at a time. We can accommodate an hour or something like that. So they agreed to that, but we made it absolutely sure that there's no way possible. Even if we had all the money, we just physically couldn't do it. So they understand that that is not a possibility at all.
Okay. Let me ask this, and we'll go around the table. I mean, I would think they could begin with construction even though we're not out of that area of the building. Is that correct?
Right. That's what we talked about on yesterday, ways to accommodate them moving forward.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I just don't think we need to vote on something tonight if clearly we can't meet this deadline. And so is that it's understood that
it's absolutely we cannot meet that deadline.
Okay, explain that to us, Mr. Davis.
That's the only one of concern. We could modify the modification and then send it back to be initialed off by J. Carr and 207 Pine LLC.
Okay. Well, any questions for the city attorney, the city manager, Commissioner Howard?
Nathan, you said we can move forward with it?
Yeah, if you want to, you can vote on it by, like I say, striking through what's on the bad, I'll call it the bad language on 131 of your agenda packet.
Yeah, I would suggest that you just strike that whole.
Go back and get J-Card to initial it before you approve it.
Yeah, I would suggest strike that entire statement.
So do you think they would agree to it?
They don't have a choice in the matter. We can't move.
Yeah.
Should we table it or what, man?
Well, no, I mean, I think what the city attorney has suggested is that we present the agreement with, we're going to delete this provision right here. I mean, we obviously don't need to be in a situation where we're subject to damages for not, we know we can't.
We're going to delete what, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
We're going to delete what item?
On page 131, it says city must relocate City of Albany 911 data center by August 2021 in order not to impede construction schedule.
Okay.
And we know it's going to be more toward the end of the year. Is that right, Mr. Gordon?
Yes, sir. It will be the end of the year. That's what I already told you.
Yes, sir.
By the end of 2021, right?
Yes, sir.
And also the language, if I can have one other comment on 131 about, it talks about approval of the loan, May of 2021. Well, that contradicts what is really the linchpin of this agreement, that the loan is not made until they have a certificate of occupancy and the project is what I'll call up and running. So I would ask that also be stricken. Thank you.
So what's your recommendation, Ms. Davis? Should we proceed with consideration with the understanding that we're going to make those amendments, or should we just table it?
Well, thank you. I would suggest we would send them a new page 3A that all of the items outside the brackets are will no longer be shown there. The one that says city must relocate, that one won't be on the, what I'll call the new 3A, nor will it says schedule assumes approval of city loan May 2021.
Could we try to do that by Thursday?
That's what I was about to suggest. We could try to get this done and bring it back to you when we meet on Thursday.
Okay. Okay.
Terrific. Thank you.
Is that okay? So I guess the chair would would entertain a motion to table until.
Well, the motion authorized our office to make the changes on 3A and get it to J-Car.
Chair would make a motion to authorize the city attorney and staff to make the amendments as requested, that being to delete the provision requiring the city of Albany to be out of the data center by August 2021, and any amendment or any revision to when the city loan is extended, because the requirement is that J-Car have a certificate of occupancy. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, and there's also after the certificate of occupancy, the structure has to be functioning as the plan outlines with various
Okay.
entities, the hotel,
All right.
et cetera.
Well,
Yeah.
I've made the motion, Mr. Talbot. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion is second. Any discussion, Commissioner Howard?
No further discussion.
Mayor Pro Tem?
No discussion.
Commissioner Fletcher?
No discussion.
Commissioner Warmington?
No discussion.
Commissioner Langstaff?
No discussion.
Commissioner Young?
No discussion.
Okay, with that, can we call the roll? Ms. Harper?
Ward 1?
Yeah.
Ward 2?
I abstain.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
Yeah.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Mayor?
Mayor votes yes. And the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Move the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion to move the consent agenda. Is everyone in agreement that we proceed with the consent agenda? If so, could we call the roll, Ms. Harper?
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
Yeah.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Mayor?
Mayor votes yes. Next item, other business. Commissioner Howard.
Mr. Mayor, I have no other business, but I would like to recognize someone in the ordinance have been here for the last 3 years. And unfortunately, he informed me as of yesterday that this is his final meeting covering the city of Albany, Georgia. And he said, hoorah, he ready to leave. And that's Mr. Bobby Pontivit. He's got a job in the magic city of Birmingham, Alabama, so Friday is his last day.
Can we recognize Mr. Portman? Mayor Pro Tem, any items under other business?
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Fletcher.
Yes, sir, I do have a comment. First of all, I'd love to thank this staff for all the hard work that they've done on this. And I will also like to say that, you know, Commissioner Howard, you and Commissioner Tommy Postel, many years I've watched y'all, and you've done a lot of great things for this community. I'll always call you Commissioner Howard. You do some things sometimes I don't understand, like I do some things you don't understand. But I respect you. You roll your sleeves up, you get in it, and you fight it. And I respect that. You, sir, you're not even worthy to be called sir. No. This was a setup.
No.
Okay, well, I'll take that back. I will take that back.
I think that our
But you,
protocol
but people like,
I don't think-
is not to
I just,
address
okay, I'll
in
finish
that type
with
of
you.
way.
But people that's not like you is the
not
reason I will
address
stay in this fight.
folks.
Because I love this community, and when groups out there are told half-truths, please don't be a part of that, Mr. Howard. Commissioner Howard, you have been so good at telling these people. You've just been good. Your community loves you. And so much of this was because this community has been told half-truths and not the whole story. Mayor, you brought it home beautifully to tell exactly why this budget needed to be passed and why this money needed to be spent on this infrastructure. Infrastructure is for the entire community. So thank you all for the hard work that you've done.
Mr. Warmington.
Mayor, I just want to continue to implore you we need some standards for our meetings. I think what's happening right now, I think is inappropriate. But you're the chairman of the meeting. I don't mean to pick on anybody, but there's a young lady walking around with a camera. I thought that's very inappropriate. We're in a city commission meeting. I've got confidential stuff up here, and to have her behind my shoulder. And then when we're making speeches, of course, if she's going to come stand in front of me, am I making a speech to the citizens or am I making a speech to the camera? I think that's very inappropriate. We know who WLB is and we know who Fox News is, but who is she recording for? Is it a movie? Is it a profit-making? Is somebody on the board making money? I mean, what is the purpose of having somebody walk around the whole meeting video? And I think that's very inappropriate. So I just, I brought up last time, our meetings are going very long, and I just think we need to get control of our meetings, have time for public speak, public hearings, have those times, we listen, we don't interrupt, we let them, speak in their allotted time. But when that time's over, we got to carry on the business of the city. And this kind of display, disruption of our business, I think is inappropriate.
Okay. Commissioner Langstaff?
Nothing further.
Commissioner Young?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Some of these comments are absolutely beyond me. When we had our mass mandate discussion, we actually had the police to have to carry somebody out. I wonder, why is it that when, one group of people can come and voice their concerns or voice their opinions, it's looked at as, okay, but another one is a disruption. All of us have to hear stuff that we don't want to hear, but you can't pick and choose. Now, I do agree that we need a better way of conducting our meetings. We've had staff suggest things to us in our retreat as far as hearing from people, but one of the things that we have to have is we have to have transparency. We have to have a way of letting the community voice its concerns. Now, we're partly responsible for what's going on right now because we decided not to let the community's voice be heard. That's on us. So if you can't take what you're hearing now, how about you let the people speak? How about you give them a platform to speak and you won't have to listen to this? That's what that's about. Good government requires us to listen to our constituents. Good government requires us to have an open process, and I'm not saying that we don't, but we need to go above and beyond to create that type of atmosphere. Albany has far too long in government been accused of taking money. I think, even some of our commissioners who, before they became commissioners, used to come up here and allege all kinds of things because they felt like the process wasn't fair to them or that they weren't being heard. Now that we're on the other foot, it seems that now, oh, it's a problem. Oh, it's a distraction. Oh, it's a disruption. But we have to understand that we have to let folks speak. When I get calls on my phone, sometimes I just put it on speakerphone and let folks vent because that's all they want. All of this discussions and all of the decisions that we make are not going to be okay with some folks, and we have to be okay with that. And we have to let the folks speak, and that's how we get good government. That's how we get a unified community, not by sweeping stuff under the rug or stifling free speech, not by keeping people from saying what they need to say or getting huffy and getting mad and want to, say, oh, you're the problem here. The people can never be the problem. The people can only speak their wishes and let their voice be heard, and we have to act accordingly and do the best we can. That's all we got. That's all we have. So I would admonish us to really look and take a serious look at the issues that we have, or we will have more division in the community if we keep down this road of trying to keep folks from being raising their voices. And to that point, as a matter that I have spoken to before, I think we have to have an executive session concerning the concerns with Mr. Pratt and some of those issues in terms of the staff emails that were sent. We need to discuss that, or that will be another bone of contention that we will have to deal with and keep dealing with until we decide that we're going to stand up and be forthright in that particular discussion. I don't agree with everything that's being alleged, but I do think there were some things that were done that has created this atmosphere. I really do think that, and I think we need to deal with that as a board. So I would hope that the city clerk can put that on the agenda to speak to that as a personnel matter. That's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Well, item for next agenda. At some point in time, Ms. Carter, I think we need, Mr. Brooks had circulated something. The city of Tallahassee has protocol. We know we have we practice policy, but I think we need to adopt some written procedures for conducting our business. I mean, it's been suggested that let the speakers go at the end of the agenda. I had suggested a month or two ago that we would discontinue asking questions. I think that was a consensus, but some commissioners wanted the right and wanted the opportunity to ask questions, and so I was not going to unilaterally make that change. But I think we, as a commission, need to have some definite policies in place so that it's understood what the procedure is. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with your not hearing from the community, because we all realize that typically the same folks are going to come up regularly. And, well, you know, it speaks for itself, but, you know, so I think we just need to have an open discussion and see what other cities do and have, I mean, Commissioner Warmington expresses his frustration and it's understood, but I mean, in my defense, I don't want to seem heavy-handed. I think that's the best way to do it is let's adopt a policy, you know, consider alternatives and adopt a policy. So we can put that on the agenda, maybe the second meeting in July.
All right, well, we'll put something together, bring it to the board, and you guys can discussion and decide how you want to move forward from there.
Okay. Any other business to come before the commission? If not, we stand.